Yeah. What's up, fight fans? It is the homie, Mainman, Mademan here. Y'all know how I get down. We talking boxing. What up to the fam? And what up to everybody in Mainman, Mademan's boxing forum over there on Facebook, man. Hey, check it out, man. I just came from over there checking out Errol Spence Jr.'s Twitter. And I see Errol Spence Jr. got a lot to say about this news of Keith Thurman being elevated to #1 in the WBC, fight fans, putting him right there under Errol Spence Jr. A lot of boxing fans believe that this can be PBC's way of trying to do some little slick stuff, you know what I'm saying, and slide Keith Thurman right up in there and maybe, you know, mess around and try to get Thurman versus Spence as opposed to Crawford versus Spence. And I'm sure boxing fans ain't trying to hear none of that shit. Well, guess what, y'all? Also, Errol Spence ain't trying to hear none of that shit. You know what I'm saying? Let's check it out. Errol Spence left this message over there on his Twitter. When I said never, I meant it. Damn. Letting it be known, fight fans, he ain't trying to tolerate or anything. You know, my thing is, look, I'm going to go with the public information. I don't believe Keith Thurman is the mandatory, nor would he be able to get a shot at Errol Spence Jr. anytime soon, due to what we know publicly. And what we know is Keith Thurman's last fight with Mario Barrios was dubbed as a WBC eliminator, yet not a final eliminator. And what we also know is the fact that Jerome Boots Ennis is the IBF mandatory, and the IBF mandatory ain't been fought since 2019. So if Errol Spence Jr. was to have to face a mandatory, more than likely first, fight fans, it would have to be the IBF. Now, unless they try to PBC, who now has control over Jerome Ennis, like if they want to steer him into another direction. But I mean, I don't know how you can convince Jerome Boots Ennis not to want to take a Errol Spence Jr. fight. You know what I mean? And not to mention he called out Earl right after his last fight. You know what I mean? So, but this is all hypothetical if the Terrence Crawford fight doesn't even happen, which we clearly see and know that Errol Spence Jr. definitely wants. And I guess he's putting this out there to let it be known because, you know, hey, there is news out here. We just talked about it. How these sanctioning bodies are crooked. Things get weird in boxing, fight fans. And maybe he see that Keith Thurman's name is in that #1 spot and he's letting PBC know. When I said never, I meant it. And the reason he talks that way, fight fans, we all know. When Keith was the man and he was unified, well, he had Earl on the string to a certain degree. He was just kind of stringing him along. I told folks I think he was trying to make Earl his checkout fight. And unfortunately, Keith Thurman just didn't get to that point to make that checkout fight happen. But he kept Earl away. He kept Earl at bay. You know what I'm saying? And most importantly, in Earl's mind, he looked at it like, Slim, you never gave me my opportunity. And now here you are, because you can't got no access to no titles right now. I got 3. Bud got 1. You sitting around here hopping mad and I'm not going to give you no opportunity. That's Errol Spence Jr.'s position. And Earl has also came out and told everybody, look, man, after this Crawford situation, I'm moving up to 54. Like he's looking beyond Keith Thurman. So he's sending a message to PBC. Don't play this game. And keep in mind, fight fans, Errol Spence is a bit of a shot caller right now over there with PBC because he is one of their 3 only pay-per-view attractions. Him, Gervonta Davis, Deontay Wilder, well, that's as good as it gets, man. And Errol Spence got the biggest fight in boxing in his future. So what they gonna do? They gonna fuck with Earl? You gonna piss off Earl? A happy fighter is a dangerous fighter. Keep him happy. He wants the Terrence Crawford fight. He wants to go for undisputed. He wants the big legacy fight. He wants to be able to take on the #1 pound for pound fighter. He wants to go after that lineal title. He wants all of that. He wants that fight. Don't try to come around and give him a bootleg version. Because in the Keith Thurman fight, well, at this present moment, Earl may look at it like, look, I got nothing to gain. Especially right now, since majority of boxing fans are looking at Keith with doubting eyes. Now, Keith being in the #1 position, like I told y'all, fight fans, this is a good thing. I mean, this makes Keith even a more attractive opponent than even with his name, you know, was the weight that his name holds. Because he's now, if you beat Keith, whether you're a young gunner or whoever else, if you beat Keith, you are now in position for a world title shot. Keith can go off and face Jerron Boots Ennis. Keith can go off and face Jordanis Ugas. Keith can face Stanionis or Butayev. There's options galore because Keith is with the machine known as PBC. And they got access to all of the big name welterweights. So pick one, Keith. Do yourself a favor. Build some more momentum. You know what I'm saying? Give that good win and stop picking on 40 pounders. You feel me? Look, PBC been looking out for Keith over the years. It's no secret. And Errol knows this. Errol's probably looking at it like, man, I can't understand. I'm the star. I got the state. I got the Cowboys and all of this good stuff. And y'all still are in, like, catering to Keith. That's probably how Errol feels. Think about it. Keith was the original star. Keith was the original #1 guy. Keith got put on national television on free TV first. Keith was the guy that got the Porter and Garcia fight and got the Pacquiao fight first. Keith. It was Keith. And now Keith took that loss, laid off of boxing for a while, and what does he come back to? A pay-per-view fight against a 40-pounder. So Earl is probably looking at it like, yo, man, y'all be doing that dude a whole lot of favors. So let me let it be known right here, right now, when I said never, man, I meant it. And, you know, a lot of y'all boxing fans, I say this all the time, y'all gonna get convinced, man. I remember when PBC was floating around them little illustrations out here on social media, like, what do you think about Keith Thurman and Errol Spence? And I seen the responses of a lot of fans, and some of y'all, a lot of y'all were on board. And especially as long as this Crawford and Spence negotiations play out, folks gonna start to get frustrated and say, you know what the hell, bring on Keith. But you can feel the way all you want, boxing fan, because guess who ain't feeling it? Errol Spence. Earl's got to live with this legacy. Earl wants this moment. PBC can't take that away from him. A happy fighter is a dangerous fighter. PBC, what y'all gonna do? Y'all gonna make Earl a very unhappy fighter by shoving Keith in his face? We'll see, fight fans. And remember, fight fans, rumors have flied heavily. Hell, I've even heard it myself that originally PBC really wanted the Keith Thurman versus Errol Spence Jr. fight. But Spence ain't trying to do it. It is what it is. Thumbs up on the way out if you didn't hit it on the way in. Share, rock the bell. Big respect to Errol Spence for this position, man. I mean, hey, I get it. At once upon a time, I would have fought for Keith on this. But now, something bigger has came along. Something more important. Something more monumental. And we just ain't got time, Keith. Because boxing fans have been invested years into this fight. Errol Spence's name has been attached to this fight for years. This is the biggest moment for Spence. This is the biggest moment for Crawford. Ain't nobody got time, Keith, unfortunately. To the next video, fam. Peace out.